Hi guys, it's me, Joseph Linton again, and for this video, I would like to discuss something that I call the Trump narrative. And I think that's a very interesting topic to talk about, especially now with current events being what they are. So I noticed this little trend that's been going on for the past year, and probably if it had been allowed to go out into out of control in the first term of Donald Trump's presidency, I think it would have been a lot sooner, this whole trend thing, because it got, well, for the most part, unlimited, unchecked power, or so we'd like to think he has. But I tend to notice this a little bit more differently than your average person, because of course we can see that he's narcissistic, egotistical, doesn't want to accept for anything, and it's just a general bad person. He probably would take puppies and eat babies if given the chance to do so. So yeah, this narrative has to be well, we always hear the current government being compared to, say, 1984 with the whole Big Brother argument. And in the ideal world, that's what Trump would like. He would like nothing more than, say, absolute power in the United States, Big Brother watching everywhere, fed directly to his diseased mind, and his absolute control over everything that goes on in the country. That whatever I say goes. But as we have seen with the current events and what went on during the year with the whole Tesla economy going down the drain, and Trump deciding to isolate us from the rest of the world gradually through taking us out of like world organizations and whatever, and taking away funding from other countries and other important things like US aid and all of that other stuff too. I see a very interesting trend here, in that not only is he trying to say that, I'm right and might makes right and all that other stuff. That is true. And that if anything were to be questioned about the dealings of Donald Trump and stuff, that would be seen as being an executable offense. But there's also the notion of the fact that he's trying to make the United States into North Korea, Russia, Communist China, or Vietnam. And I know that for a fact because one time I did speak to someone from mainland China over a video conference, and I asked her about the government, and she looked around like, am I getting in trouble for answering this guy that's question? But the thing of it is that all technology and whatnot, the cameras and the phones, the fact that we have news reporters that can report realistic facts and not Donald Trump's little fantasy about everything going good and everything being clean and everything, kind of derail the narrative a lot. Because whenever something bad happens, like the economy going down the drain, or say test being too bad, or the medical coverage going down a jitter, or prices in the grocery store being too high. We can self-report that. We can take pictures on the phone, share them online. We can have word of mouth. We can have it spread throughout, and we can see on TV that gas prices are high, housing prices are high. Everything is high. Except in terms of a fantasy world where everything is nice and everything is peaceful, everything is nice. Everything bad and evil in the country is because of low-down Democrats and everything else. In fact, take the current situation in Minneapolis and Minnesota as a whole, and then Portland, Oregon. The fact that J.D. Vance and Chris Noem are saying that the victim in the shootout, Miss Renee Nicole Good, which, if you look at her history, is about as close to a saint, an angel, as you're ever gonna get. They like to paint the image of her being a domestic terrorist, being a nasty person, being a very rude person, being a bad, just a general naughty person, and teachers stayed put while everything went on with her and just took it, and they try to work their little mind to try to figure out how can I blame this on the left? How can I blame this on some other Antifa or whatever? In fact, I would like to see them bring up the word Joe Biden in it or Obama. I'm actually really surprised that they didn't do it. And that all goes into the narrative that everything is like everything that is against Trump, like the numbers are bad, the poll numbers are bad, or that the economy is doing badly, or whatever, doing poorly, or gas prices are high. It's all the radical left. It's all the Democrats' fault. Like fighting an imaginary war, and putting a big dude against the imaginary war, and then basically shadow box with somebody. And I think that it's very, very stupid and very it's the consequence of a man that doesn't want to take no for an answer, or that he doesn't realize the checks on the power or his own legacy or whatever, because he tends to view the presidency as like a look, he would view the presidency like, oh boy, you can do whatever you want. Yeah, okay, you got unchecked power, okay. So that's one thing. And then he doesn't want to be accountable for anything bad happening in the country. And Chris Noem and J.D. Vance are trying to advance policies and storylines that go right along with this, because he doesn't want to be seen as a shameful person, and he's got to try to they're trying to work the magic and try to make everything seem like it's the imaginary Democrats or the imaginary left forces doing it, and then rather than just saying that all policies are bad or requirements to rust, and the people that are in ICE are basically half-assed thugs with weapons and armor. That's pretty much it. And trying to interfere into people, just like Russia and North Korea. But unlike those other countries where they were beaten, with a free will, the people were beaten back at, when they were fairly young in the nation's history, this country is a little bit too wise to that. And we're a little bit too diverse in our ideologies and religious freedom and all that to allow for us to be steamrolled over by some guy that had a weird power trip. Also, another thing that's important to Trump's little narrative, besides all the, we gotta keep hush hush and paint this as rosy and chewy as we can and blame the other person for it, is that Trump has this unhealthy obsession with having beautiful people doing his presentations and his being in the workforce. For example, Caroline Levitt, in fact, let's see here, Chris Noem, because every time you see her, you see her in like some kind of weird, gaudy cosplay outfit, which is really disturbing and really kind of, you make a joke out of the whole Homeland Security thing too. So, one thing I really can't wait to see, when she has the cosplay in a in a nice orange jumpsuit along with her boss on her and his other employees there. I mean, we're talking about the Daredevil woman here, and she's over there doing her little press conference in a comically large, stupid cowboy hat. It's okay. You want to say that the cowboy hat is some kind of stylistic choice, but don't go out of the way to insult people that just died. Even I would do anything that stupid or something or anything like that. I know better than to whip my MAGA hat and all that stupidity over something that just died over Thug shooting her in the face 3 times. Which he really didn't do that. You're just a bloodthirsty, rage-filled guy that shouldn't be in charge of any weapon. He should be put on some kind of psychiatric hold or something. And then I can only imagine that because J.D. Vance and the others are spinning this to make it sound the victim is the little bad guy in this, that that the guy that shot her was a good guy. I can just see him them having the guy like a deposition or in court or something in a wheelchair and a neck brace, or maybe a cast or something. To really stroke the pity party. Or the pity party for the guy that shot and killed somebody. I mean, the guy even said that he was a marksman. So, by that logic, he shouldn't have shot her in the face. He could easily shot her in the arm or something not lethal. And if he was such a good shot and stuff, he could easily shoot tires out of the car, or shoot something else on the car and make it stop without actually applying lethal force to it. But I think that those ICE people are just clowns. And also, another thing I like to say is that part of the Trump narrative too is to imply that all these ICE agents and whatnot are law enforcement agents. They're not. they're not cops, they're not the FBI, they're not any special forces or anything to be respected. These are just people that want to cosplay as cops, but were rejected for some reason. So basically, they just walk around in a costume with a gun and armor. And they're not even really police officers. They're just fun games. Much like this administration is just one big game to Donald Trump. You know, let me take this country over. Let me get this oil. Let me get this petroleum. Let me bomb this ship or destroy that or fight the consequences. But the thing of it is that those resources that Trump wants to give to China or whoever he wants to next get on the good side, then his resources that you give. When he took Maduro and his wife, he thought that everything would be all fine and dandy, everyone would just roll over and play dead for him. But in hindsight, he didn't do a damn thing. The next in line for the government took over. So in essence, he did absolutely but diddly squat for it. And that's what it is about Trump's presidency. He acts like like his authority is absolute. But meanwhile, he's just a little child playing God, pretty much. And I can't wait till people actually wake up to this. More people wake up to this and get rid of that big fat jackass. Because he really is making a mockery of this country and other countries too that support us or used to support us. How many that will be there, but the people are banning us, people are punking us. This is only your do this to everyone on us TV. Come on, this is a big game or a big reality show to him. And this is important issues, the economy, healthcare, and everything else. But that's too hard. Let me just invade another country. Let me just show how big my cojones are and go conquer somebody else. But not really. Let me just say that I conquered them to make myself look good for the people, for my supporters, for my supporters. I would do the Hulk, rip off the shirt, but I want to ruin his shirt. But that's what I mean. Trump likes to play pretend God, and when anyone tries to interfere or take that idea away from him that he's not a God, he's not Pharaoh Trump or whatever, they're seeing it to the radical left dungeon where you're a terrorist, you're Antifa, go away. Or even better, you just watched the episode of the Twilight Zone with my father the other day, and this is a classic one where the little kid is in a little house with his family, and everyone's like yes men and yes women to the kid because he got supernatural powers. And if the kid deems the people unworthy or angry or at him or whatever, or plotting to kill him or something, they'll say to the cornfield, and then he'll teleport the person or thing into a cornfield, which I'm assuming it's like an abyss where nothing comes out of it, like a black hole. So in essence, Trump wishes he had that kind of power. He wishes that he could just make someone who disagreed with him, or who said the emperor has no clothes on, that he wishes he could just say to the cornfield, and then poof, they disappear forever off the face of the earth. It's the kind of fantasy world we like to live in, where nothing of consequence can happen to him, but there may never be any consequences for actions in his life. But if you believe in heaven and hell, I could imagine Trump going to St. Peter, and then St. Peter saying, "Boy, you've been a nasty little boy. You've been a very nasty person. Straight to hell." Okay, well, which circle do I go to? There are 9 circles. Let's see, which one do I go to? Do I go for lust? Do I go for whatever? And then St. Peter be like, "No, you're so bad that you're going to super hell. You're so bad that even the devil could take notes on how evil you are." And then he sends them to hell. He sends them to super hell. And then Lucifer, or Satan, whatever you prescribe to, would tell Donald Trump, I invented cancer. But what you did was even more devious than that. You took away funding for children's cancer research. I mean, who does that? That's something I wouldn't even touch. That's something I wouldn't even do. Bravo. So yeah, I feel that all of this thing is just part of Trump's narrative that he wants to be like Kim Jong-un. He wants to be like Xi Jinping. He wants to be like Putin. Because whenever the narrative suits his way of doing something, whenever he does something wrong or bad for the country, it's like, you didn't see that. You didn't see that. The Turks are good for the country. Whatever I say is good for the country. But we have cameras, and our society is too far gone in that regard to listen to his BS and his bluster. I mean, even the governor of Minnesota said all the narrative that Trump is trying to say, and that J.D. Vance and Kristi Noem are trying to say, that's 100% grade A bullshit. Yeah, history books will not be kind of Trump. They will consider him to be Mr. H 2.0 from German history, and they will write history the way it should be written, that Trump is a monster. So are all of his policies, so all of his beautiful people who he got in charge, like Pete Hegseth, Stephen Miller, RFK Jr. Yeah, I know they're not considered beautiful people, but they're all considered alpha men. And then you got Kristi Noem, the puppet killer. I don't think that what's her name? Sarah Palin could do a better job than she could, because she gets arrested from her house. And let's forget, there's also I can't comment the I mentioned it before. The press secretary. And also, for the same matter, is that whenever Trump says, go forth to fight my wars, or go fight for the country, go fight for the honor of the country, rather than me, I'll go in the name of Trump and fight for the war, for this country, or this territory, or this resource, or whatever. When the people go there and they fight for whatever cause Trump has a his ass, and then come back disfigured or disabled. You probably said something like, and we've seen this in the past too from Trump. We don't want to see them here. We don't want to see any ugly disabled people on TV. No, overweight. No, disgusting people on TV. No wheelchairs, no crutches. Nobody wants to see it. These people fought and almost died, and were ready to give the ultimate sacrifice for the presidency, for you, for any type of future war we might have, which is going to be pretty close to it, close to World War III. So I think that with the isolationist ideas of Trump, he wants to take us out of these organizations. Also further thing for why he is trying to make us be more like North Korea and Russia and the others too. Now back when we're talking about the obesity and stuff, that he doesn't want anybody else that isn't beautiful on the next to him on stage and whatnot. It will remind me of somebody from fiction that kind of resembles Trump right now, in both physique and the fact that he wants to put his face on everything, on every image imaginable, even as the battle cruisers or destroyers or whatever. And that'd be this guy. Yep, Dr. Eggman. Or layman terms for the older people like me, Dr. Robotnik. Because, I believe that if Robotnik were to conquer the world, like in that show up, Sonic City, at AM, it would be much like what we would expect for Trump to do. Unquestioned power, unquestioned control. He could say and do whatever he wanted to. And the freedom fighters were seen as liberal scum. Much like, say, Star Wars. With the Emperor. So, let me know what you guys think of this whole Trump narrative thing. And I know it's not too psychologically sound. It's more of an analysis of history and bad, evil regimes like Stalin, like the Kim Dynasty in North Korea, and that whenever something bad happens to our countrymen, women, it's always like nothing's here. Well, we gotta change the narrative to be positive and be more of a rosy sense up for the country, for me, my policies. Let me know how you guys think of it. Anyway, I am Joseph Luna, proud Democrat, and but I would like to see a nice person try to come up to me and say that I'm trying to run them over with my scooter, see how much fun that would be in court. And then if someone tries to take me out, tried to hijack my chair because I was a big threat to their masculinity and whatnot. So yeah, that'd be pretty fun. I hope someone will record that, like my father. But yeah, now I know where people come off calling authority figures pigs from the 60s and 70s. So yeah, if you like what you see here, you want to see more of my videos and such, like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. Or if you want to contact me more directly for my future videos and stuff, you can always call me or text me at 631-707-3707. And if you want, you can always follow me on Twitter. I actually prefer at P Melsom Pro. Also, you can get me on my email address at jjviewingchannel@gmail.com. Oh yes, I also forgot about something else, the Trump narrative too. A big one too. It kind of really irks me. Whenever he says something is failing, like the New York Times or whatever news organization or broadcast station or whatever, it means that it's doing fine. I just don't like it because it has negative coverage of me and my policies. So like whenever he says like, oh, the failing times, or the unfunny, untalented blank actor, or whatever, I think they could just be trying to split himself too thin, which is weird because he's a fat idiot who judges some people a lot more talented than he is. I mean, forget about the fact that I like Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Seth Meyers, and Stephen Colbert and stuff. You shouldn't take them off the air because you don't like them. Then that's like what he does. The same with the New York Times and any newspaper or any cable station or whatever. So this all falls into the whole Trump narrative thing that I've been talking about. They want to change everything around to be like North Korean style sea propaganda with the whole Caroline Levitt. So to go, Caroline Levitt. She reminded me of that North Korean woman that always said, "Yes, master, yes, master, yes, master. You are correct. You're awesome. Everything is awesome. Everything is groovy. There is no problem with anything you say, dear leader." Anyway, yeah, it's like that. So, anytime that he says the same New York Times or ABC or CBS or CNN, that usually means I don't like it. I'm gonna say it's failing. Whereas my own stuff is failing, like through social and whatever. But when I hear talk about me, they talk about how they're failing. So yeah, everything ties into the Trump narrative. I'm awesome, and I want to build this country up to be in my image. You get marble and gold and tacky gaudy design choices. Fuck everybody else. At the tax-free time, no less. one thing I gotta say about Trump that's good, he is very good at spending other people's money. In this case, the taxpayer money for billions upon billions upon billions of dollars. Maybe even $1 trillion at this point when he's done with everybody. And that's only do with what we know of. He could be trying to fleece billions more out of his fans by some of his bullshit merchandise products. So peace out, my brothers and sisters. I'll see you in the next video. All you girls and guys in Interland. God help this country. Doing sayonara and good luck and stay frosty.